Hi, I'm David Nickel. This is another video in a continuing series about how to stop your foreclosure mess. The text that I wrote, which is at www.stopmyforeclosuremess.com, was written almost 3.5 or 4 years ago. And when I started and finished it up, I wrote it for the foreclosure situation at the time. This is well before we had a tsunami of mortgages go into foreclosure and property values decline so dramatically. And things change on a weekly basis. For investors, just recently, the title companies made a major change in the way short sales are handled. You no longer have to show the seller side, that's the lender side on the seller side, how much profit you're going to make if in fact you are on the short sale. Major change, I'm telling you. The banks have blinked, and it's changing the industry, and it will be. What's happened is the lenders realize that they have their hands full. My estimate is there's 14 million Americans who are upside down on their mortgages, and they have to ask themselves, why am I paying a mortgage that I'm upside down on? There is a simple solution to it, and that's called mark to the market. That's going to cost a dramatic change to our society, but it's going to be much less dreadful than what we're going through now. Anyway, let's talk about, for this video, what's called a forbearance agreement. 3 years ago, forbearance agreements were pretty common, and most people worked them out. Basically what happened is when you got yourself into a problem, you stopped making your mortgage payments and you got into arrears, and the lender would call and say to you, what are you going to do? And oftentimes it was simply one of the spouses in the relationship or partners lost their income, or you had we saw hospital accidents where people were hospitalized for an extended period of time, and their work wouldn't pay them and so on, and they were on disability or whatever, but it didn't make their mortgage payment. So that whatever the situation was that got you into the problem, you were out of the problem now, or you had a substantial cash flow monthly and you could afford to pay your regular mortgage payment. However, let's say you had been in arrears for 3 to 6 months, and let's say your mortgage payment was $2,000. So now you had a $6,000 arrearage, or plus accelerated interest rates and various other things, and let's say it was $7,500. The lender would say to you, okay, just send us a check. And you would say, well, I don't have the money. I'd love to do that, but why don't I make a payment and a half or 2 payments until I can catch up? The banks were pretty stodgy about, no, we want it in writing and we want you to do it in a certain way. Now, in the text I go through all the different ways that you should structure a forbearance agreement. If that's your situation, if you had a problem but you've worked it out and you're not upside down on your mortgage, and we'll talk about upside downs later, and you want to work out a forbearance agreement, this is not a loan modification. A forbearance agreement simply is a short-term solution. But let me give you the tip and the inside story on why the lenders don't like them. About 75 to 80% of the people that did the forbearance agreements in the past, in fact, defaulted within 6 to 7 months. So the problem was systemic. It wasn't coincidentally, I had a problem for 3 months and it's over with now. It was, I had a problem and I think I got a solution for it, but you didn't. So the lenders knew that they were only biding their time. Now, in a good market, when the market's rising, they're okay for that because they know they're going to get their money out if they foreclose and take it back. In a bad market, that's a different situation, and they realize that a lot of people now do not have the money to do a forbearance agreement, in effect reinstate the loan. Generally what they do is they go ahead and they start the foreclosure proceeding, and in the forbearance agreement it's going to state that if you default on it, they're going to go directly to court and continue the foreclosure proceeding. So the forbearance agreement is pretty low on the totem pole of what kind of workout you want to have. Again, if you're only going to reinstate the loan and you do have equity, remember I said in another video, friends and family members, go back to them and tell them, I don't need a chunk of money, I need a small amount of money. I'll give you a second mortgage. Big key, gives them collateral, even if it's not great collateral. It's something that makes them feel more comfortable, and give them a payment plan. The worst thing you can do is borrow money from relatives and then never talk to them again and lose friends and family members because of money. So on the forbearance agreements, if it's an opportunity, talk to their lender about it. In the book, I give you all the strategies of how to structure that so they can put all the monies on the back end of the mortgage, make additional payments over 6 months. But again, this is not legal advice. If you need legal or accounting advice, seek the advice of an attorney or a CPA. Thanks.